Today I'm going to show you how I do a monthly setup. Normally at the beginning of the month is when I have a spread for what my month looks like, what my goals are, and some things I'd like to track for the month. If you haven't already, I suggest you watch the How I Set Up My Bullet Journal because I actually refer to the things that I have done at the beginning of my journal when I set up my monthly setup. In my last video I went with Slytherin theme. It was subtle, but I did a little Slytherin theme. This time, the theme I went with was Back to School Harry Potter. That's just the theme that spoke to me. You don't have to do the same theme in your monthly, and you don't even have to do a theme. I just think it's fun to kind of see things connect, and when I was trying to think of a theme, that sounded the most fun to me. There's definitely some drawing / artsy things that I do in this one that maybe I'm not good enough to do. So if Harry Potter Back to School is not what speaks to you, it could be flowers, it could be clouds, whatever you want to do that in your monthly setup themes. It's just kind of fun to have one throughout. Before I jump into August, I am going to show you how I filled out some of the things that I set up. So again, if you haven't watched the setup, you might want to see how I set that up. I go over supplies and everything. But you will see how I actually use the journal and what I write down as sort of my goals. So get ready to watch me set up my August theme. So here is my 2020 at a glance page filled out. As you can see, I filled in birthdays, back to school things, holidays, anything I can think of that I need to remember. It's also helpful when somebody asks me, oh, are you available this weekend, to kind of glance at this page to see if it's a holiday or if I'm available that weekend. I also filled out my reflections and goals page. I added some questions that I wanted to reflect on and answered those, as well as me and my husband had our anniversary last week and we kind of went over our goals. So I have some personal goals and our goals together. It says as a dyad because we just watched Star Wars, and in the last one they're a dyad in the Force, so that's kind of what we are. And then some goals for down the road as well. And then as you can see with my books page, I haven't finished any books yet, but I have filled out some of the books that I've been wanting to read. And I think maybe I'll color them in if I do read them, but also I'll put them on the right-hand side as well. So as I said earlier, the beginning of the month is when I generally do the most spreads in my journal. I'll have spreads for the month, for some trackers you'll see, and for spots to think about things. This page you see me working on, I left blank because I had some things I wanted to fill out, thoughts about my blog, because I just started a blog. And I used markers to write things down, to color the kind of decoration on the right-hand side. So I kind of continued with the Harry Potter theme. I decided to go with back to school Harry Potter theme because I am going back to school this month. So as you can see, I wrote the letter that Harry receives in the first movie on as like a decorative touch on the right-hand page. I also added the numbers of the month on that page as kind of a way to track when I'll be posting on my blog. This is my month at a glance page. So I generally just put the outline of the month on the left-hand side is what I've done. In the past I've done them bigger, but I decided to keep it small this month. And this is like a classic monthly layout. So you have the month, and then as you can see, I'm repeating that same layout on the right-hand side, and that's for tracking my habits. And I think it's nice to have the month at a glance, as well as the habits and your goals on one page, since it's something you'll be visiting every day to track your habits. You can glance at your goals every day as well. And as they say, if you see something more often, you're more likely to do it. And I, with the Harry Potter theme, drew the train coming back to Hogwarts. I'm not a very good artist, but you know, besides maybe the awkward wheel shapes, I think it turned out okay. This is also a page where I will be looking back at my year at a glance to fill in what I have this month. I'll be looking at my yearly goals as well to align with my monthly goals. So the whole bullet journal is being used at this point. This next page is sort of a simple weekly layout. I wanted to challenge myself to not do a vertical layout because I always end up doing a vertical layout left to right, and I like how it turned out for sure. And I just added a few touches of back to school Harry Potter things, like the stack of books, the school robes, which we just recently went to Harry Potter World and we wanted to splurge and buy robes because they were so cool. But I just put each day vertically. I have a spot for my goals, which I think is super important. I am starting work again, so I need a work spot as well as coming up, and I always like to have a spot for notes. I'm just someone who writes way too many things down. And then I just added one more weekly layout spread for you to see, and this one I ended up doing vertical. And since this next week I will be going back to work, it will be nice for me to see kind of the hours in the day and what chunks of time I have different things, as well as keeping like a running to-do list on the side, a spot to write down what I need to do for work, and a note side. So as you can see, I definitely use this for work as well as my personal life. At the beginning I thought I should kind of keep it separate, but I don't use it for everything for work. I have another notebook, but I definitely think it's useful to write anything that you need to do that you're thinking about. Is just awesome to have in one place, aka your bullet journal, so that you can see it all in one spot. Keeping back with the Harry Potter back to school theme, I drew the car that they drove to school in the second movie down in the corner, and I did use stencils for the wheels because the wheels were that rough in the first train one that I had done. So there's my August 2020 setup. Hopefully you got some tips or things that maybe could help you as you use and make your bullet journal. As always, if you have questions or you want to show me some spreads that you've worked on or things that you're doing in your bullet journal, go ahead and reach out to me. You can follow me on Instagram to see more of what I do, and I'll be posting some of the things that I did today on my Instagram as well. Thanks for watching, guys.